Good afternoon, and I know many of you have already met Nora Clark, who is our new Block Island Climate Resiliency. It's on. I turned it on. Yes, you're welcome. So Nora just started yesterday, and if you want to say anything about your background or how you came to be here quickly, that would be great.
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. For those of you who haven't met yet, my name is Nora Clark, and I've just started with Nature Conservancy, and I'm really excited to get started with this work with you guys. And I have a background in science education, and I was a middle school science teacher for a long time. So I'm excited to kind of use that science education to continue to work on science connect related to Block Island and the climate here. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
I think her resume really matches well with this job, so it's going to be good, great. And we'll have many opportunities. I've already set up 3 or 4 times to meet with Nora over the next 2 weeks, so everybody will get a little one-on-one eventually.
Welcome, Nora.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
That's Nigel for a second. Is there any discussion? No. Well, it helps if my mic is on. Hello. Yeah. So, sorry about that. So no discussion of the March minutes. Can I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Oh, I already did that. didn't I? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, next item, town and council updates. So these are updates mostly, I would say, from outside. That's the way I'm trying to structure this. These are updates from outside of our committee. And then the inside of the committee is next. I'm trying to organize the agenda like that, make it a little bit more clear. So the first update is from the town council. I attended the town budget meeting last week, and it was raised that it was actually on the last page of the budget discussion, that the town council was considering in its deal with Ørsted or whoever is representing the wind farms on what kind of relief Block Island might receive in the
Event.
in the agenda or in the write-up. It had $55K per year for 5 years for a contractor on coastal resilience.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I do know that there are a couple of members of the town council who aren't on board yet. Not that they are not on board with us and what we're doing, but they're just are not as so. This is what I think happened is that over the years, over the last town council, they had a budget like sort of prioritization process, and then all the stuff that was left over was just, hey, if we find funding, these are the things that we want to fund. Okay, so we had that. I don't know if this is actually what happened, but that's my experience of the last several budget cycles, is that we're like a carryover item for them. So like the North Light is a carryover item for them, and the whatever we want to do at Gracie's Cove is a carryover item for them. So I know that the new town council, and we've got a new council. All right, they're all wondering, well, who set these priorities? Where did they come from? And so they're at least what's been described to me is that they're interested in understanding the process better so that they're more comfortable voting for this. So like I said, I'm just making up a story of it could have happened, but I heard it from a couple of people, so I'm partially informed. But anyway, we can thank the town council for for putting this in and putting it on the table for consideration, for which I'm deeply grateful. Miss Nora, who is behind the podium for me, but I think this is an incredibly exciting time for us. This is what we've been asking for, is, actual worker people. Instead, we're advisory, not to say that we don't all work hard, but we're advisory, and we aren't the people who do the execution. We aren't, we may help write the grants, but it's the town that submits them. It's the town that executes them. It's Allison who manages all the gory details. And so we'll talk a little bit more about this when we talk about grants, but there is just a ton of work to do, not advisory work, but actual work to do. So that's what I'm really looking forward to happening with Nora. Nora is taking over in the position that Glennie left. We were so excited about Glennie's participation, and we're really just as excited, Nora, about you and welcoming you into this group. And unlike Glennie, Nora has a 3-year appointment. And so we will have some continuity. I think she's going through what Glennie did, and especially in the ordinance review, looking at, where are we and what are the next steps. The ordinance review is with the town right now, but, we always can apply pressure to move it along, and especially in the other committees that we're members of, planning or whatever, where is it? What can we do to what can we do to keep it moving? There's also, Glennie did a great job of culling through what existed and seeing opportunities where sea level rise and climate change can be inserted. But I think it's a very big job to figure out, what do we need? What else do we need? What do we need to add? And that just takes a level of review that personally I'm not willing to do. That sounds like a real job. And but I'm very grateful to Nora, Glennie, and Nora, and anyone of us. I know that there are several members of this committee who are really deeply committed to the ordinance update, and so thank you all. I'm also just want to say that we have some very advanced, ecologically advanced, I don't know how you'd say that, environmentally aware ordinances that when you read them through, it's like, wow, these people are really enlightened. They're really thinking about the environment. And I think the biggest challenge that we have for our ordinances is enforcement. And so I'll just put it out there, but enforcement is an issue for us. And I think for a lot of people, they just don't even know what the ordinances are.
So,
Go ahead, Sosha.
of course, you're making me think. So in view of the fact that you just stated that Orstat may have 55K available, could that money be coupled with Sweetie Pie Nora's work, so that if she sees a big project, she can then say, hey, I need this money for so-and-so to assist her?
What I'm hoping is that if this imaginary 55K per year for 5 years comes true, that Nora and this person will be pretty much glued at the hip and shoulder, that they will know each other very well, and be able to finish each other's sentences, and that they'll be working very closely. And I hope it works out that way. But and with us too. I mean, we're a friendly group, and we're a committed group. And so I just, yes, I hope that we all are working really closely, and that also that whoever it is, Nora, or this new person, or any one of us, that if you start to feel like you're getting over your head or just too much, that you'll reach out to the rest of us. I mean, that's what we're here for. And it's not just this committee. We have really dedicated people who attend our meetings. I know Corey Hines isn't here right now, but I'm tapping her out for some activities that we may have done ourselves. But she's so interested in the marshes that whatever we do with marshes, I'm going to make sure that we include Corey. So, we have people in our community as well that we can tap into. The main thing, Nora, is for you or anybody is if you start to feel overwhelmed, reach out. I mean, I certainly have used Socialnos and Mary and Ann and so I mean, I do get overwhelmed and I do reach out. We're a good committee that way. I know, really exciting. I'm so excited for you, Nora. This is great. Is there anything else from the town council? How about, Miss Allison, how about an update from the town planner?
Hi, everyone. I guess I'd mentioned the successful site visit. We had the Corneck Road project. Mike Gardner's here from GZA, but the project team met, spent most of the day together, lengthy site visit and meetings at town hall. I know we circulated some of the material to Judy, but I think, and maybe the subcommittee is going to speak more on that later in the agenda. So I don't want to steal your thunder on that. But we have tomorrow a monthly check-in with GZA. And so we'll get an update on where the project stands and next steps, timeline, et cetera. The only other update, I guess, would be there has been some potential technical assistance opportunities that have come up that we need to consider and explore this month, the town. So we're just looking into those further, whether or not to pursue those. But one is actually something that it's through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank and Fuss and O'Neill, the engineering firm, assisting with this. But it was something that was really a year ago. And Mike Shea and I had a meeting. They were looking for potential projects and kind of fell off the rate. I just assumed we weren't selected. And then many months later, we get an email that our potential project for technical assistance in the Bridgegate Square area for stormwater management, nature-based solutions was like one of the 15 projects selected for consideration. So they want to have like basically another meeting to kind of talk through whether or not that project still, something to pursue, whether or not we have the capacity to kind of, work with them on it. And so we're just going to try to learn more about it, but what it involves and whether or not the timing works out. But so that's something that just came up. The other is a technical assistance opportunity that New Shoreham is one of 10 towns that is eligible, but we would need to apply for that, and that's through statewide planning. And it involves, it's focused on regulatory updating. So kind of what we were just discussing, like Glennie had gone through that process last year, and it sounds like Nora will be tasked with that as well. So this is, again, an application. 10 towns are eligible, an 18-month audit of local regulations, funded through statewide planning, but it would require, capacity at the local level, potentially 3 to 4 hours a month by local staff to kind of help navigate, that process and move it forward. So that application is due in 2 weeks. So I'm not sure now if, having Nora now on board is great. So she is able, we maybe sounds like we have capacity locally already tasked for that. But so I don't know if it's something that, given that makes sense for the town to submit for that. And again, we might not, only 1 in 10 chance of getting that technical assistance through statewide planning. But I just wanted to bring it up and kind of listen to folks' thoughts on those opportunities and speak with town staff later this week and decide, how we pursue, which ones we'll pursue.
Any response? I'm seeing Anne. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, just a question, Allison, on the first one, you said it was Bridgegate Square, sorry, what did I say, Bridgewater? Are we talking about like the culvert situation? Is that what that would address? Okay.
Yeah, that's the culvert. That's the, whatever comes down from the pond right behind where I'm sitting. And, the culvert is underwater at high tide. And so any water that's coming in down from the marsh isn't going out through that culvert. It's accumulating in the marsh and then washing over the road. And so that's the issue there. Yeah.
I guess, and you mentioned, Allison, you're gonna see whether the timing works out. I'm wondering what are the considerations in terms of timing?
The capacity, I guess, local capacity to take on the project, how much, you know, we also have Corneck Road kind of, I know that's more focused on, you know, we have GZA helping us with that major project, so, I know it's more not, this is kind of beyond that area. So
So,
with
and
other
it's,
projects going on and, getting back to them basically on where, you know, what the project set, like if the town wants to pursue that project right now. So,
And we would have to, am I correct, Allison? But we would have to hire experts to come in. I mean, it wouldn't be us doing it. It wouldn't be the town doing this.
no,
Right.
that one is Fuss and O'Neill, so it's
Good.
Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. Fuss and O'Neill is the engineering firm, so they would come out to the island and basically, you know, planning and design for a potential improvement there. So,
That would be awesome.
we wouldn't go
they're
out
really
to
good.
bid, or it's not something where it would be certainly less of a lift than other grant opportunities where you then need to hire a firm. It's not, if you're selected, Fuss and O'Neill's on board to then give some input and potentially selected for design from out of those projects. Not all would go to design. So again, we have to have that meeting and learn more about it. And you know, they're gonna then select based on that conversation, you know, whether or not to move forward. So
Well, so this is Judy, and so I listen, and listening to the last meeting and where our priorities may be and how they might be shifting. This is an example of why you want to be open to everything when it comes forward. You just never know what's gonna play out at the state level or the federal level, and what they're gonna come back with as where they can help us. This aspect of the Bridgegate Square issue is the one that was still on the table. Even if we weren't concerned about private businesses and where they were going to go, or any of the other parts of the discussion, we still have the problem of the water over the road when the tide is high and we had any rain at all. So I think this is an opportunity for us, but it's the will of the committee, not Judy. But do you guys feel like this is something that the town should pursue?
I do.
Do
100%. I mean,
yeah.
if it's already, this is based on a previous conversation. It sounds like we have a good chance of getting it, and they would provide the engineering expertise. Why not? I mean, I guess I'm kind of missing what not fully understanding what the work load or additional, what would be required of the town and the capacity issue. But aside from that, I don't see why.
Yeah, so this would just, I think the capacity on the town side is somebody to work with Fuss and O'Neill, and, the management of the grant or the writing of the grant, and all, we can help with a lot of that.
Oh, so there's still a grant to be written for this one?
That's right,
number,
Alice.
well, the statewide planning one, yes, but this
Yes.
one, no, unless they may, a lot of times, there might be some narrative to submit, but
Okay.
we're gonna have the meeting first, so I can find out that information. But you know, it's gonna be at least 2 or 3 meetings, involvement, like when they come out, site visits, coordinating all that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy to advocate to pursue it, you know, and we'll see where, you know, the conversation goes and
And I'm really happy to have an opportunity to work with Fuss and O'Neill as well, because they've been really good to our town. And so I'm happy to pursue this you know, to further the good relationship that we'd like to have with Fuss and O'Neill. Yeah. The other one, the opportunity for statewide planning on regulatory updating. I know it's due in 2 weeks. Do we think we can meet that deadline? Allison, are you going to be around for the next 2 weeks? So that if we
yeah.
agree to help you with this, that I mean, we're willing to do we can do the lion's share of the writing if we have your guidance.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, the application's too much, but I just wasn't sure with if Nora's now on board to do this work. This is an 18th month audit of local regulations, if that's something that
Because she's a TNC employee,
Yeah.
this is really got more aimed at the town itself.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's auditing local regulations and making we can put in for it and see what happens as far as if we're selected. And then maybe, you know, Nora, you know, deciding who kind of
Oh.
spearheads that.
Yeah, so
process.
that makes sense. So if we put in for it, the timing between when that decision is made, we might actually know what's happening with the coastal resilience
The new, if you're saying you have a
coordinator on the
staff person.
town side.
Yep. Mhm.
I think it's worth, yeah, and bringing in money for that person makes a lot of sense. I don't want to put this on Nora. I think it's more important. This is really, it sounds like a town issue, and it should be a town person who is the lead. Nora can help because she's looking at the ordinances already, but yeah, I'm more comfortable, and I'm watching Kim's head shaking, and that she might be more comfortable too if we don't, this is a way to, yes. We have to allow Nora to get up to speed, and whoever the new person is too. But it's which I see, I'm holding the vision that they're actually coming. But yeah, you know what, Allison, I think we can, let's go for both of them. And and you have people here ready to help you write.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
You bet. Wow. Yeah, and then, yeah. And we'll see what happens. Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to do an update on the Block Island Hazard Mitigation Plan? Has anyone read it? Oh, I see Anne waving it in the air, but she hasn't read it yet. Yes.
Well, it's up for public hearing before the town council. I can double check does anyone have the date handy? I know I have it in here.
April 7th.
Thank
at
you.
Oh,
7
Monday,
p.m.
wow.
And I think written comments are due April 4th. I know they are due April 4th at 4 p.m.
Okay. And yeah, please, I mean, you know, take a look at this. Anyone who has even a slightest bit of interest, the hazard mitigation plan can really help us when we go for funding for something. If it's in our hazard mitigation plan or our town comprehensive plan, that really helps us back up the request. You know, and the question would be, well, why are you asking for this if it's not in your hazard mitigation plan? Right? So, so that's why this is really important. So please, those of you who are willing, please go ahead and read it. Look for changes. just even last night in a conversation, we were wondering if there was something in there for like the North Light parking lot. And so, you know, so please go ahead and look at stuff, look it through, make sure that what you want in there is in there. And if not, you know, make a suggestion. It doesn't mean that it's going to get in there, but it does help Kim, who is writing it, and all the rest of us, know what's important to you. I mean,
Oops.
so how do you get a copy?
Yeah.
Okay, so this came out from Kim. What's Kim's last name? Jacobs, thank you. From Kim Jacobs, and it was sent to the Block Island Bulletin Board. Yes.
George was just asking if there's any printed out copies of it for
We-
people to look at. I
oh.
don't know if the town is providing those. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on,
Good. That's my,
okay, so if you want a printed copy, go to the clerk's office, but otherwise it's available on the town website. I really appreciate that, you guys. I mean, there's a group, this group has worked really hard on this, and we didn't think of everything. Even the last meeting, we were thinking of new stuff. So, you know, it's important, more eyes better. Thank you. Okay, an update from me, the Coastal Resilience Committee Chair. This is, the first thing I'd like to bring up is Earth Day. Let me get out my calendar so I get this right. Earth Day is on April 22nd, but we are celebrating it on Block Island on Saturday, the 26th. In years past, Mary Anderson, Sosha, and I have been the warm bodies that have held the table from 10 to, or basically 9 to 1. The Earth Day itself is 10 to 1. And, but we go in at 9 to help set up and get stuff ready. The rain date is the following Saturday. That's May 3rd. So we need another warm body. Mary cannot attend this year, and so we need one other person, at least one other person to help us down at the table. Okay, oh, Anne will help us. Thank you, Anne. And by the way, all of you, you know, please come by and help us staff the table while you're there. That would be great. And have some green crab soup. Valerie got us, yeah, she got us green crab soup again, so that's really good. And we will ask the Conservation Commission and others, you know, if they want to coordinate with us on our presentation. The next item I wanted to let you know about is I received a call from a couple of scientists from URI, Izzy and Erin, who I'm trying to find their names on this piece of paper and I can't, but they are funded for a project to look at salt marsh vulnerability and carbon dynamics on Block Island. And I have a copy of the proposal, which I'm happy to share. But especially because we'll see how completely complicated it is. It's not like what we do, walk around and ooh and ah, isn't this great? No, I mean, it's anyway, they're coming out to visit the island on the 20th or the 27th, and I will meet with them. I'll send you guys, I'll notify you guys when it's actually happening. Let me write a note to myself here. And if anyone wants to join me in, yeah, oh, Anne would like to join, okay. And I also, I was gonna invite Corey Hines to join us
right.
because of Corey's, Jean-Louis, all right, okay, all right, good.
Judy, what department are they from?
These guys are in the, I believe, the Graduate School of Oceanography, but I'm not positive. I don't know,
All right.
but I can let you know.
Are you limited by open meeting?
Right now, it's me, and Anne and Jean-Louis, so it's only three of us, so we're fine. But yes, we cannot have a quorum meeting with them walking around the marshes. Four.
And this is on which day?
It's Sunday, the 20th or Sunday, the 27th of April. And would you like me to put you on the list, Nigel? Okay. Jean-Louis, yeah, because Corey doesn't count anymore towards our quorum. So now there's four of us, and that's great. Because at some point I'm gonna drop off. I'm there only because I'm your fearless leader. And I'm just, that's why I'm there, because they need, I'm the point of contact. But at some point, especially once they, really start getting dirty, shall we say, yeah, I'll probably bow out.
Can you send us any information about that?
Oh, yeah, I'll send the, to the whole committee, the, proposal.
Great.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think it's a matter of public record. I'll make sure, but, yeah, it's exciting. But it's like, when you read it, one eye spins one way and the other eye spins the other way. It's so complicated. It's chemistry. The last item that I had for myself, is that right? Is that my last item? Yeah, Nora. Oh, no, second to last item. Oh, one last thing. I am on the Rhode Island Sea Grant Advisory Council or Advisory Committee or whatever they call themselves. And I am meeting with them next week. They're going through a site visit. I hope that at the end of the site visit, I have a much better idea of what's going on with the monies that were from last year that are still being let by Rhode Island Sea Grant. So I should have, hopefully, if they know anything, then they'll tell me and then I can tell you about, what's available and what's being pulled, but at the federal level,
Okay.
hopefully. Yeah. The last thing is the website, the Coastal Resilience Committee website. We have a town website that is not, in which we don't participate. I mean, the town puts something up and we really haven't done anything with it. Part of the challenge is that this is not my forte. And I'm happy to be critical and, evaluate, but I'm not gonna be your generator. I don't even know where to start. And, go ahead. This is the town website, and what I need is somebody, doesn't have to be one of us, but I need somebody to work with Millie, who's the town clerk, and she's in charge of the website, and she said to work with her on how we might populate the town website with what we want to put in there. And not right away, or, let's take our time. It's been up there for years now and we haven't done anything with it, but I would just love to have somebody lead that because I think it'll make a difference for us.
I could do that.
Oh,
This is so not my thing.
yeah, me either. Thank you, Jean-Louis. Yes.
That's a good.
Exclamation point. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna put you in yellow. That's a big deal. Thank you.
We can go home now.
Oh, no, now I'm turning it over to you guys. So, yeah, so let's go to, reporting out from the working groups, liaisons, and the rest of you guys, which includes Mike Gardner, 'cause when we talk about Court Neck Road, but, do you want to start, Anne, with the grants, or do you want to go first? You're second on the list. I don't know what I'm going to say. Public information and community engagement. I think we want to talk about that when we talk about Horn Neck Road. Is there I think that'll be the main focus for us this year because of what GZA is trying to accomplish. But is there anything else that anyone wants to say about public information and community
I have to-
engagement?
I-
Okay, good.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, committee
Oh,
report.
for different ones. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to grant support for new grants, and Anne attended a meeting for us.
So yes, I attended this webinar on March 21st, the New England Environmental Finance Center hosted this. It was really helpful in terms of having everyone, like, sort of all the grant funding that's available, representatives from all these different opportunities that are available to Rhode Island. And provided a summary for folks, which is right there, with some of the screenshots from slides and the details about what's covered and when applications are due. And then our working group, which is me, Judy, and Claire, met yesterday and discussed some of the ideas that we had about what opportunities might be grant funding worthy, and wanted to, open up a discussion and hear from you all. But just to share some of the things that we discussed, and none of these are, there's no decision at this point, just ideas. One is to pursue the Ocean Avenue North priority area, which now seems to be, the stronger priority between above Bridgegate Square. So looking at planning and design, opportunity to do planning and design around solutions for that area. We also talked about checking with Dylan Chase on to follow up, and I saw there was another handout that had some of the information, but in terms of whether the funding that's needed for raising the pump stations and other priorities, if he has it, or if there might be, because there's several grant funding opportunities that are specific to sort of water issues and that type of infrastructure. So if there is a need, that's an opportunity perhaps. We also talked about the culvert at Kimberly's, but if we get this other grant, then that would take away that need. We also talked about looking at the hazard mitigation action plan and seeing, which we haven't done yet, but if there's anything that jumps out that is a priority or part of the action plan, but is not yet, doesn't have a source of funding, and seeing if there might be a fit. We also talked, Claire brought up the revetment at the transfer station. West Beach is going to be expanded, and how that will create more erosion and make the pond there more vulnerable to erosion, and whether we might look at that situation and apply for funds to help mitigate the erosion. We talked about, hey, maybe from the sand that's dredged from New Harbor could be used to rebuild that area.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is legal or anything, but we dredged this soil from the old harbor and dumped it, put it on trucks, and then dumped it on top of the revetment in front of the beach house or beach, beachhead, the beachhead. Oh, the beachhead. Yeah, right in front of the beachhead there. Right now, the New Harbor soils that get dredged get dumped up by the North Light in the dredged soil disposal area. I wonder if we are able to dump them, put them in trucks and dump them on the beach, and instead, by adding like a soft barrier that on each end, or however it works, because it is the same sand.
I can't answer that, but Army Corps is the one that has some very strict rules about where things get disposed of, so
We need to talk to Army
Corps. Would probably be through the harbor master, through Kate.
talk to the harbor master. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't have my mic on. Yeah, so we're talking about putting sand on the beach near the transfer station revetment on the south side where the road comes in. At that area, just ecologically, that area is so compromised. The runoff from the relic dump is completely disgusting. And it's right in that area. Yes. The breakwater, right?
Right.
If you're gonna keep talking, you should come up to the. Stop talking, because otherwise she has to go up to the mic. So we're talking about, I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on. I was asking about using a soft sand solution around the revetment at the relic dump. And instead of putting the sand that we dredged from New Harbor out by the North Light disposal area, the acknowledged dumping area, if we couldn't just put it right on the beach. I know we can't put it off the beach because of the eelgrass beds, but what about putting it right on the beach, which is being eroded so severely with every big storm we have? Yeah, so anyway, it's just an idea. So one of my jobs is to talk to Brian Oakley about whether that's if that's geologically a reasonable thing to do. And then, of course, Army Corps of Engineers is next. Okay.
And some other ideas, again, we were just having an open discussion, but Annette Greeley's modeling work, whatever comes out of that, if there might be solutions that are identified as, most likely to have an impact, that maybe a grant could be tied to that. And then we talked about the Corneck Road, whatever solutions identified there. There's probably not going to be sufficient funding to implement it with the current grant funding, but that might be better suited for a 2026 grant just because of the timing. Although some of these opportunities will be open in the summer, maybe even later. Some of the dates aren't yet known for when solicitations will come out. So those were the ideas we had, and I think I covered them all, but Judy, if there's any that you feel I missed, but we also wanted just to hear from others about if any of those sound like ones that would make sense, or if there are others that we should consider.
Seems to me that that we should focus on the Corneck Road project, because if the project that exists today cannot be finished for financial reasons, it is more than shovel ready, which is what they often look for in approving a grant. So that would be my vote. Not that we're voting.
No, we want to hear from you because this is about where we put our efforts in for, pursuing grants, or in this case, pursuing another solution for dredge material that we know is going to be produced this year. And hopefully that doesn't involve money. I say with fear and trepidation. I want to thank Ian. Go ahead, Jean-Louis.
Yeah, so I have.
You go ahead, go put it on your mic.
I have some news about the data collection we have been working.
Yes.
So first of all, we secure a PhD student from University of Michigan who's going to produce the maps that we will need. And Valérie secure a student from URI as well, who are two different fields who are going to work with us. What we are trying to do now with the student is to produce a GIS map to overlay the NOAA survey about the water, the rising water. And we want to overlay with different GIS of the city, of the town. So for example, one of the first overlay we'd like to do is the ownership. And who is going to be impacted by the amount of water coming in the next years. So for example, we start to look at the ownership of the land around the island, and we can see, for example, it's not this one, I have two, this one. So for example, looking online, I look to the Nature Conservancy, and it doesn't look like there is no land. Then the Nature Conservancy doesn't own any land, according to what we could find online. After that, we look at the Block Island Conservancy, who is different, outstanding. And it looks like there is 162 acres who are owned and 73 who are under easement. So in the mapping we are going to do, we will need to have answer from the organization to be sure that we have exactly the amount of land and where is it. So we need to match the reality on the map. Yeah.
I guess I don't really understand. I mean, if you look on the town GIS site, it identifies the owners of all of the land.
Yeah, but you need to touch every lot. You need to touch one lot. You have the name on it. What we want to do is to have, for example, the town is owner of the land. We need to have one tick and you have all the land, the city.
Okay, so
owns.
you want to modify the GIS map so that with a simple search you can bring up.
Exactly. We are,
Okay.
that's a way. So for example, the non-profit like Block Island Conservancy, maybe we figure out that they are going to lose 15% of the land in 50 years.
I'm sorry.
When you start to look at the ownership, you
Yes.
can say to any group, non-profit, public,
Yes, okay.
you can say, according to NOAA, you are going to lose 10% of your land in 50 years. We want to say that.
Okay.
So every organization can look at it and make the decision according to that.
Okay.
So you have the public land, you have the state, you have the fish and wildlife, you have the town, you have the non-profit. So we want to have this map where each group can click and have exactly the impact according to NOAA. That's what we are going to work right now with the studio.
Interesting.
After that, there is, so for example, when you look at the map, NOAA map, there is no location of the hospital, there is no location, is missing, like this is not 100% done.
Mhm.
So in this map, we want to be able to have exactly the location of utilities, hospital, fire station, and overlap with NOAA and say, look, in 50 years, you won't be able to access the hospital. I don't know yet, but that's what we want to do.
Right.
So it will take 2-3 months. We have the studio start to work on it. And there is going to be a tool for everybody. My request would be to be able to communicate it with the non-profit or who can confirm what the data we got to be sure it will match exactly the
Yeah, I think it would be really, so this is Judy, it would be a really good idea to maybe if you have a write-up of what you're doing, a summary of what you're doing, and then something that we can, take to the Block Island Conservancy and, even attending their regular meetings, go to a regular meeting of them, take it to the Nature Conservancy, to the Land Trust, and just, maybe the bigger or landowners, the town, of course, the bigger landowners, and that, so that you get them understanding it, but, and then, sort of roll it out for private landowners, because that's
going to be.
that's
the next-
harder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is harder as the next step.
Right,
I'm
and
not
that'll-
sure if that's our job to do that, but at least everybody will be, once we do the overlay of ownership and NOAA, everybody is going to be able to check.
Check their own.
zone.
Yeah.
We can ask for grant money.
Money is good.
Okay.
And so that's what, any feedback on that, that everybody wants to have,
Yes.
like, maybe we should have a layers on GIS of that because we need it. So for example, there would be, we could have an impact in, there is a oyster farm.
Mhm.
You can have an impact about business, small business. So we can have the layers with all the small business who can be impacted
Right.
by the NOAA map.
Right.
Assuming that NOAA map is going to be the reference for the next 50 years. But we are not sure yet.
Is
But,
Storm Tools based on NOAA
I believe
data?
so.
Yes.
Okay. So is this working with the Storm Tools?
Exactly.
Okay.
What is very complicated because, like, from what we learn is you need to have a different factor together, like the high tide, the wind, the moon,
Yeah,
and all together to have the maximum of a surge.
right.
And NOAA is not
It's just
stop
the
at
sea level
one
rise,
layer
right.
saying that that's the one.
Right, right.
So, but at least we can start from there.
Okay.
Excuse me, I didn't hear, who is funding this? Who's doing this?
So we have two studios.
Who's we?
That's mean the data, there is Valerie,
Jean
there is
Louis.
me and John, three of us. We have a,
subcommittee.
yeah. So we found, I have connection with University of Michigan, so they did offer me a PhD student to work on the project. Valerie has connection on your right. They have been offered some student.
Okay, all
That's
right.
the way. Is pro bono, the university just support everybody. So that's very important because GIS is complicated. I don't know how to use it too much. So we need to have the people who can produce that.
So the really good news here is that it's no town money.
Right.
And we've been pretty successful about that. Go ahead. Renee, can you come up to the microphone, please? I know you like it as much as Kim does.
So I have a question. I haven't been on Storm Tools in a long time, but I believe you looked up the property by fire number. So how is this different? It's that you can make a query by an owner name, like the Block Island Conservancy,
What
and come up with all your properties?
I didn't find any tools where I can see all the Block Island Conservancy land. Every time you need to click on the lot. And what we want to see is the whole piece of land on the island for the conservancy.
So you're looking for a tool really where you can select a group of lots by. owner
Exactly.
name.
This is what we are going to do.
Thank you. Very cool. See, we're doing a good job of getting students. This is incredible. It's great.
Great place to be.
Okay, enough on grants. Have we exhausted grants and, Anne, do you have anything else you want to?
No, but if others have other ideas, George, you looked like you were gonna say something before about grants, were you, or? You don't, okay, okay. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to town ordinances and planning. I think, have we exhausted that one, please? Okay, moving on. Well, most
Yeah.
important, yeah.
I
Okay,
think
let's
you're
talk about Corn Neck Road because we had a very big meeting. I'm so sorry I missed it. I was very happy to be in New Zealand and Australia, but I am sorry I missed the meeting with GCA. And Nigel, I know you have something to report. And then if Mike, if you have anything to say, please pipe in. But Nigel, you've got the floor.
Yes, so Mike Gardner and Matt Page from GZA came and visited the island, gave a presentation about their examination of all of the data that are possibly relevant, I would say, to the erosion and vulnerabilities of the dunes and the Corn Neck Road region, really running from pretty much the revetment up to and just beyond Scotch Beach Road. They have done some really nice work. I think the most impressive thing to me actually was that they had done a drone-based LiDAR map of that whole area, which gives them a computerized, three-dimensional model of that whole landscape, and it's really good. They can take a transect at any point through this model and see where low spots are, high spots are, just everything that you'd want to see. Identify the vulnerabilities, which naturally are the drive-throughs, the walkovers, and the town beach house. So they're things that we're well aware of. They've also been modeling, or they've been looking at historical data for wind, storms, wave action, and so on. And I think they're building in on new modeling for the wave activity. And Mike can tell us sort of more about that. We had a terrific walkthrough with Mike and Matt, from Scotch Beach Road all the way down to this end of Corn Neck Road, looking both at the dune side and at the roadside. They asked a lot of very pertinent questions, not only about what our feelings were about the vulnerabilities, but also some of the political realities. Is it going to be hard to close off Scotch Beach Road, for example, and whether these are things that need to be addressed. But I think regardless of political difficulties, their recommendations will be what's the best thing to do, and then we'll have to adapt depending on the political difficulties that we see. So Mike, I don't know if you have stuff that you would like to add to that. I should say in the afternoon there was a talk about public outreach. Sosha was there for that. I had a bit of a hard time hearing the woman on Zoom, so Sosha, I think, is better able to summarize what was said about the future of public outreach and so on.
The key element was that there will be a public outreach and that there will be a public survey as well.
Mike, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I could say a few words.
Yeah,
if
please.
everyone can hear me okay. I guess first off, I'll start at tomorrow. We actually have a monthly update. So I'll be diving a little more depth there, but briefly, I'll just say that we have been working through that survey. We have a preliminary survey and web application for the stakeholder outreach framework that we will present tomorrow. And yeah, we're continuing to work. We had a great site visit and appreciated meeting everyone that was there. And for those that you couldn't make it, looking forward to meeting you another time. So, like I said, we'll give a more in-depth update tomorrow, and looking forward to that.
Mike, this is Sosha. As you
Yes.
know, we post your activities on the bib, and I would appreciate it if, when you reach the point at which you have a survey ready to go and a public hearing scheduled, that you could notify either Judy or me so that we can post that on the bib.
We can definitely do that. We're shooting for very, very shortly here, and hopefully some of that will get hashed out tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, so it was, so Bib is a private Google group. So Renee is here from the Block Island Times, and she asked that they also be copied, and we'll make sure you get copies of stuff. Okay, Sosha?
Of course.
Of course, I knew that. I just want to say I went through the slides from the Corn Neck Road project, and there's been an enormous amount of work already, being done. I also want everyone to understand that Mike Gardner and some of his colleagues, at least one other one, are students of Annette Grilly. And so the work that Annette is doing and her team is doing off of Crescent Beach, they are working with They're former students at GCA, so it's not like we're going down two different or parallel tracks. We're all working together integrated. And then we're talking to each other. And so I just wanted to assure people that it's not like we have two separate projects going on here. Okay, anything else on Corn Neck Road? Sosha, you have something on
Yes.
Ocean Avenue North.
And then
Uh,
Tuckett.
And, okay, so, can we move past Bridgegate Square? Does anyone have anything they want to say about Bridgegate Square? Oh, please come on up, Renee, she has a question.
Exactly where is this culvert
Oh,
that you say is flooding at
yes.
high tide?
Yeah, so the culvert is about 15 to 30 feet west of the Kimberly's
Okay.
exit. And yeah, if you go at high tide, you'll see it's the culvert outflow is actually below the high tide level if it's, especially now with the high tides we're having. If we don't have any rain, it's not a problem. It's the combination of a rain event with a high tide that we get the water actually flowing over the road instead of through the culvert.
There's a little bridge there, Renee.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I think that the problem with the flooding and puddling is rain.
Yes,
I know there, like I said, there's problems with culverts.
Right.
But I think it's clogged.
well, that, right.
That much. I mean, it really has to be a heavy rain.
It's usually a big storm event when it goes over the road, yes. Yeah. I'm gonna power through these out of order because I want us to have a chance to talk about Ocean Avenue, and I see George with a big question on his face.
It's not a question. I just want to say an update, everyone, on the CRMC. But it may not be
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
But I
well,
wasn't sure if jumping past that or not.
no, well, so data, I don't even know if anyone has anything on data. We just did it.
We just
I
did that.
That's what I thought. Good. And that's good with me. Utility District, E ETIPP, Mr. Carlos.
Carlos Salinas, I have two actually that go one after the other. So the ETIP, the Energy Energy Transformation Initiative Partnership Program. On April 15th, a subcommittee of the Block Island Utility District is having a conference call to review the results. And there's going to be a May community meeting to be scheduled. So where they're going to share the results. I would pay close attention, very close attention to what are the results and also what the reaction is from the utility district. I would pay very close attention to that. And secondly, Conservation Commission, I asked what is the status of the joint meeting at the last Conservation Commission meeting, and I was told by Amanda Boulay that she was exchanging dates with Laurel to find out when that joint meeting would take place. And I checked in with Amanda this morning, and she said, well, she was out, now Laurel's out, so that's still up in the air. So it's a thing between the two clerks trying to figure out a date where both groups can meet.
Okay.
And it's absolutely unclear to me what that meeting is going to be about.
And does it matter if it is in the autumn? Because we're in April now. Wait till you hear how busy we're going to be in May. But anyway, June is a possibility for us.
So it's
Yeah.
completely up in the air as
And
far as I can tell.
Can you go back to, or I'll go back to Amanda. Hang on. Big to-do for me.
But Amanda sent back the dates to Laurel, and now she's waiting to hear back from Laurel. bottom line on that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be speaking with you shortly about having a second meeting in May instead of one, but having two meetings in May. And so maybe June is a really good time, and maybe it should for a joint meeting between the two committees. And we can meet their schedule.
So I have a question on that.
Yeah.
So are the committees allowed to then add a date as long as it's,
We can change the dates with enough notice.
so
Yes.
maybe one thing you might want to consider when the carbon marsh scientists are coming, if more people want to join from the committee, just make that an official day of the, so you avoid that problem of,
Of the quorum.
quorum,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
thinking.
Yeah. CRMC, Mr. Jorge. Senor Jorge, sorry.
I want something. Anyway, of the new applications, there was nothing very recent that stood out as a big shore rehabilitation project or anything like that. But because of the earlier conversation, I need to go back and look at some of the dredging proposals that have gone in front of the CRMC. And for example, there's one in the Ballards area that has been was approved on January 6th. So it'd be good to find out what is the plan for where those dredgings are going to go.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the only, there's an older one in here too, I believe, but I haven't looked that up. So I will look those up.
Thank you.
On another note, we're all familiar with the Coir log projects on Spring Street, the Farrens and the Horans or Horans. They were looking to repair their Coir log slope, and there was no approval given for that or disapproval, but their projects are no longer listed on the permit database. And the last thing that was in there was correspondence received February 6th. And now they're not even on there. Maybe they've dropped their application to repair those. I don't know, but I've written a letter to the CRMC to get that information. So that was just strange that it was gone.
Just point of information or a question. I know that on the planning board, we're not allowed to do this, and that is to mention the names of the property owners.
Right.
Is that a problem here too?
Yeah, I think.
Probably, sorry.
Probably.
I was just doing it so you knew what reference, but yeah, we have no problem with anything. It was just we're finding out about
We'll make
stuff.
sure that nothing,
Yeah,
minutes
let's
do not
delete that from the
reflect-
minutes, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Sosha. Thank you. And thank you, George.
It's easy to do, and now that I'm familiar with how to use the database, it's,
Awesome. Sosha.
yeah.
Okay.
Sosha is up for the north, oh, yeah, Great Salt Pond Marsh Migration. Is there anything else on that? I think we've covered it. Ocean Avenue North, please.
I think you're going to be sorry you have so many committees.
It might be. I will cut you off at 25 after, so move it up.
Oh, okay, okay.
Move it along.
So what I did was two things. First, I consolidated our information on Ocean Avenue North. I went back to the 2013 adaptation plan to see what their recommendations were. Then I referenced the October 30 meeting with Mike Shea, Dylan Chase, John Brunick, Valerie Blansfield, and myself. And then I referenced one of the CRC meetings right here when Mr. Brunick spoke. So it's all a combination. So starting with the 2013 adaptation plan, it said, well, the two pump stations along Ocean Avenue would be impacted by a 3-foot sea level rise. All but one of them, the one closest to the treatment facility, would be impacted by a 5-foot sea level rise. Ocean Avenue is sewered for its entire length. This line, which continues along West Side Road, provides sewer services to all of the marine businesses, Payne's Dock, the Boat Basin, and Champlin's Marina. The impacts will be noticeable as sea level rise reaches 3 feet. Most dramatically, the section of Ocean Avenue between the Hog Pen and Payne's Dock, including its intersection with West Side Road, the major road connecting New Harbor with the outlying residential areas, will be completely flooded on an average high tide. The complete inundation of the lower section of Ocean Avenue will mean that someday the only way to connect New Harbor with the rest of the island, including Beach Avenue, will be by West Side Road. And the findings since are as follows. Ocean Avenue's flooding is considered to be more serious than Bridgegate Square. These are just quotes, okay? No long sentences or paragraphs. 4 catch basins are too low. Some need backflows. Catch basins are listed as the #1 problem by Mike Shea. Raising sewer infrastructure negatively affects gravity flow. It's very expensive for homeowners to address. Sea level rise will dictate when to reconfigure our roadways. And that was in response to, well, couldn't we just raise the road? Protecting the inner ponds reduces flooding of the roads, buildings, as well as property. The CRC is inviting us to visit the sewage plant one of these days. Studies are very expensive, $200,000 for Bimi's problems alone. That's the study. The state has been made aware for decades, but has ignored the problem. They only seem to act reactively during emergencies, such as during Storm Sandy. The pump stations need backup power. We have 1 portable generator for now and need more. A resiliency plan to raise the pump stations is in place. Community wells are high enough, no concern there. And the road cannot drain into the adjacent wetlands because the latter is higher than the road. Possible solutions to be explored: the state must fix the catch basins. The road could be raised without affecting infrastructure. However, this would increase drainage into private property. Now notice that that opinion is in conflict with the previous one that says don't raise the road because all of the infrastructure of the sewer system will be affected. Pitch the road towards the wetlands. The sewer department has access to grant monies, but need to find out if monies can be allocated to this problem. And the 5th suggestion is revise town ordinances to raise building height for pre-existing structures that are along this stretch of road. What advice could the CRC possibly give to the town council? Well, maybe we could send photos of the flooding to the state DOT and inform them about the catch basins. Incorporate the need to fix the catch basins in the hazard mitigation plan. So I have to check if we did that. Recommend to the town that an alternate route to New Harbor needs to start being planned for, including notifying property owners affected by the need of such plan. Should improvements meet 100-year storm effects? What about partial abandonment of the road, or realign the road to a higher elevation, or reconstruct the road as a causeway, or provide shoreline protection for the road as part of maintenance, such as a stone revetment or seawall structure? And I know we deal with the CRMC when it comes to that. Then Judy encouraged us to look at other communities to see how they're handling things. And so I used my own brain to summarize what Nantucket is coming up with. So this is not professional. This is my interpretation of their coastal resilience plan. But what I find interesting is to see how much of that we are already doing on Block Island. Okay, here we go. The plan will analyze risks to the island's homes and businesses, public infrastructure, economy, civic spaces, and historic and natural resources, and propose location-specific interventions for reducing long-term risks and increasing resilience, as well as provide a recommended implementation roadmap. The process will build on prior and ongoing studies led by the town. Now notice that that's different from, let's say, our comprehensive plan, which says, take a look at Bridgegate Square, deal with it. It doesn't spell out how to do that, right? So this is more, this will be I don't know if they're finished with it, but when it is, it'll be more specific, detailed. The CRP will provide a long-term adaptation plan for the entire island, along with detailed feasibility and implementation guidance for near-term projects over the next 10 years. And I'm reminded here of Dr. Oppenheimer saying, don't you go looking at data more than 30 years from now. It becomes unreliable. The planning process will involve an examination of a range of flood protection options and provide recommendations for new policies and investments in nature-based and gray infrastructure, which is very much parallel to what we're trying to do. The project team will work in close partnership with the Nantucket community and other groups to develop the CRP, as do we. Now, notice number 3, the process for developing this plan combines climate science, we do that, robust community engagement, we try, engineering and technical analysis, we do, urban and landscape planning. Now, I don't know that we do that, do we? Other
Yeah.
than the rain garden?
Well, no, yeah, I think that everything that we're doing is,
Yeah?
yeah.
All right.
I mean, I would say that this is an area where, for example, GZA is, really accomplished.
Okay.
And, so, yes.
And then they have
I don't know
design.
about urban planning, since we're not
Right,
an urban center,
right,
but
right.
certainly landscape planning is part of our task, yes.
And then they have design implementation planning. We have that with Corneck Road. Island-wide resilience strategies. The approach can be phased over a period of 10 to 15 years, focusing on the lowest lying areas first. So here we go. They are looking to update the zoning bylaws. We are too. Update wetland ordinance and regulations. We are also hoping to take a look at those. Strategic retreat and relocation program. I certainly will recommend that. Stormwater management plan. Now, for years now, I have asked the town, do we have a stormwater management plan? And no, we don't have one. And then the last time I asked, yeah, we do. Okay, so
Yeah,
now we do. Engage community members in the process of monitoring shoreline changes. We certainly do, Nigel. Develop an operational sand budget for recommending shoreline projects. I don't know. Do we do that?
We do not,
It's obviously not relevant to the Great Salt Pond either.
right.
Okay.
It's only, that would be relevant to,
Only the
West
coast.
Beach and, and Crescent Beach, yeah.
Provide comprehensive, effective flood risk reduction against future high tide flooding. The elements include raised roadways, raised bulkheads, reinforced dunes, and flood walls. The overall approach recommends passive measures that are integrated with the existing built environment while maintaining access to key waterside facilities. Well, we certainly are trying to balance
Yes,
all of
we
that. Work with the Steamship Authority to develop adaptation plans for Steamboat Wharf with the preferred option of elevating the pier above future monthly high tide. Well, that is also on our agenda.
Yes. Good
So
job.
I think it looks to me like we are on the right track all around. I would love to, though, what I couldn't find, the other things that Nantucket has is they have lots of handbooks on what individual citizens can do to protect their properties and handbooks on how to protect the nature of their property as well, not just their buildings. But I would just love to get on the phone maybe one of these days and say, hey, Nantucket, what projects have you implemented recently? Because none of these booklets tell you specifically which mitigation projects they have used.
About that, because what they're saying is saying the low
Mhm.
topo is a priority. But
Yes.
For Block Island, the bluff, the erosion of the
Erosion.
bluff is going faster with global
Yeah.
warming because there is more rain. And the rain does the erosion with the ocean. So
And underground water.
yes,
Yeah.
so this is, we have to, then what I'm trying to have one of the GIS is to have, what is
Can you
the
turn on
low-
your mic? Like,
What we have, the low topo, like a
Yeah.
foot feet,
Yeah.
and everything above will be a different kind of description and protection, because this is not the same event.
Yeah.
Bluff and beach are not the same event.
right.
No.
Anyway, it was satisfying to find this out.
That's great.
I would love to
Good
have-
job.
You have a digital copy of this?
Thank you.
Maybe
You have
just,
a digital copy?
We have additional copies, but we
Digital.
also,
Yes.
Please. That would be
Oh,
great.
yeah. Oh, Jean-Louis, yeah.
could the
Um,
whole committee get the electronic copies?
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah, usually, yeah, sorry about that. I was like, yeah, make sure she prints everything, but I didn't have her include it with, usually, I include it with the sending of the agenda, and I apologize for that. I'll write a note to myself here to send everybody action.
And maybe just to comment on social on the Ocean Avenue, it's really helpful to have all this stuff pulled together, but what strikes me is that there's all these sort of different points of view,
Yes.
but we've never had like a holistic look
No.
at that area and really, gone in depth about. So to me, this makes a case, I think, for thinking about this
Agreed.
as a grant, to seek grant funding to look at this area and come up with possible solutions.
Okay.
I mean, the one thing I would say about the Ocean Avenue is that it's actually far more predictable than what's going on the Cornneck Road side, because the only real problem is sea level rise. There's no wave energy action that is, so the sea level rise and the surges that you get on top of that. You point out that the real problem is a 3-foot sea level rise. And I think one of the things that Mike Gardner and GZA was sort of talking about when they came here a couple of weeks ago to talk about Cornneck Road was sort of thinking about the time scale ahead, and current project, I guess, so with the high level prediction as opposed to the medium and the low, we're talking 3 foot by, I think, around 2070 or 2075. There is some real time available for the Ocean Avenue. Obviously, nuisance floods of the sort that we've seen, several times around Bimini are a problem. And, infrastructure, especially sort of buildings like Bimini, are going to end up flooding unless they themselves do something about elevations and so on. So I think that side of things, the individual building owners really need to think about. If the road is flooded for a high tide cycle, it's in most cases not going to be a major problem, and you can access either down West Side Road or along Ocean Avenue until you get to the part that you can't take your car over, and then you get out your welly boots and wade through. But the docks are going to have to deal with this in general.
Go ahead, Ann.
Just a suggestion, do we want to try to have another meeting that's focused on this area and do the same thing that we did or tried to do with Bridge Gate Square, like get more people in the room together?
Have like a community meeting
Yeah, I
on Ocean Avenue North? Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
you were looking for a summer activity.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Some
I
of these
mean,
grants are like gonna be mid to late summer, so.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, that
something to
might
think
be
about
really
doing it
timely.
Before, like June, maybe that's June.
Well, maybe we do our July meeting on that, just our regular meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have Annette Grilly today to talk about her project, and she could not put together a quorum of her own people to come in this today. but she's got her quorum for May 6th. So Annette and her team will be here on May 6th. What had been scheduled for May 6th was the URI Coastal Institute, who want to come out and discuss with us the idea of having Block Island become a climate response demonstration site. What that means to them is that they put energy and time and effort into Block Island as a climate response demonstration site, and they attract funding. So there it becomes part of their job to find funding to focus on Block Island issues that are related to climate response. So I really want us to hear from them. I think this is, them selecting us is remarkable. And so what I'd like to hear, they also cannot do it in June because they're off in June. This is URI. So they asked if we would be willing to have a special session in May to talk about this. And so what I'm asking you to do is to get out your trusty calendars, and I have a series of dates. I'd really like to get back to these guys in the next day or two. So let me just give you these dates. If you can get back to me today, that would be great. But they're suggesting May 14, 16, 19, 23, 27, 29, and 30.
Okay.
So it's like a Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Judy, would these be all day
No,
events or?
no,
Afternoon?
it'd be like, an hour, probably a couple hours. If they're going to come all the way out, let's do a good meeting and have them here, but they're coming out for the day.
What's their name again?
Okay.
It's the Coastal Institute at University of Rhode Island. And they want to establish Block Island as a climate response demonstration site. So if you guys could please get back to me, I'll ping on you. And if I can get you before the end of before you leave today, that would be great. But I'd really like to get back to them in the next day or two, because they're setting up all their schedules for May.
I'll text you.
Okay, yeah, you can text me. That'd be great. So it is 4:29. Oh, yes, Nigel, go for it.
Just one thing I thought I should probably say to the whole group, and you could have said this too, Judy, is that now we have a real-time tide gauge operating in Old Harbor. It's available on a website. And
Can you send that to all of us?
You can also download the historic data. It's been operating since it's been operating accurately since Brian was here on March the 10th.
So can you send us all because Billy McComat called me today and asked me how to access it.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you
yeah,
send that information to the committee? And,
yes,
no response, no,
yes.
we don't respond. This is just information being transmitted. Because we don't want to get into that for the open meeting laws. But would you please send that out and include Renee Myers? Because that'll be really interesting for people to have from the Block Island Times. And that's fantastic.
Contact him.
Yay.
Okay.
System- Okay.
Yes.
Any other business before I ask someone to move to close?
I have a-
Jean-Louis, please.
I have a last question is, do you know anybody who know if there was a sediment budget done for the island?
I know this question. A sediment budget. The answer is mostly no. Brian Oakley is the person with whom you want to speak, but he actually and another person are putting together a proposal to do a full sediment budget for the island. But it has not, to my knowledge, a full sediment budget has not been done.
So those persons are from your island?
No, he's at Eastern Connecticut State University, but he graduated from URI and is a former Rhode Island state geologist. And I can give you his
Please.
contact information. Yeah. Okay, that'd be great. Anything else? Okay, can I hear a motion to close our meeting?
So move.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Mhm.
Congratulations, we did it in an hour and a half. It's 4:20 or 4:31.
Feels
So
like-
thanks, you guys.
Feels like 3 hours. I mean, we packed a
We
lot.
packed a lot in there. I hope Alton took a lot of notes because I was. No, I'll send out all of the paper attachments to all of you.
Wonderful.
I usually do that. I'm so bummed. Thank you. And thank you, Michael. And thank you, Allison.
Have a good night. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.